Alright, we are going to get into this game, this series between Alcatraz and Kerfoogle. Now, I should actually look to see what bracket they're in, shouldn't I? I think they're in the brick bracket. Yes, they're in brick bracket for the T90 Community Cup, I think it's called. They're in Group B. I believe these guys great point actually. What kind of ELO are we looking at here? They're considered a mid-ELO master. What is a mid-ELO master? I guess they must be, yeah, like 1200. I would guess would be what we're looking at. Best of 3, play all 3, and it looks like they're starting on Evacuation, which is a very interesting map. I should also see quickly what maps they have picked. So Evacuation is their admin pick, so neither of them banned it. It's the last map available. And it looks like Alcatraz has picked Acropolis as his home map, and Kerfoogle has picked Zong, is that how you say? Dzong, the one with the temples and the monks inside kind of an arena kind of style kind of map. Also a very interesting map, I haven't seen that one before. And in terms of drafts, I can see Alcatraz has picked a lot of infantry types, Poles with the special unit, Bulgarians, Teutons, Armenians also have very good infantry. They've got Magyars in there for the cavalry kind of civ. In terms of Kerfoogle, I think it's a little more diverse what he's gone for, with Khmer, Byzantines, Japanese, Bohemians, Hindustanis. It's kind of a mixed bag there for me. Alcatraz seems to be going for the infantry, in my opinion. In terms of what they've picked for Evacuation, got Alcatraz with the Armenians. I think the mule cart is going to be very good there. And the Japanese have got obviously a very good hybrid water-land civilization. So I think that's a pretty good matchup. Yeah, we'll get it going. To be honest, this is maybe my second cast ever. R-Base, good morning, thank you. Thanks for checking in, the infamous R-Base himself. Key admin or organizer of the tournament. Amazing, love to see you. Yeah, let me know if anything goes wrong, R-Base. Again, this is kind of like my second stream ever, so any tips, advice, happy to hear them. But yeah, we'll get into the game. So Evacuation, I've only played this map a couple of times. So just all disclosure, I'm about a 1100 ELO player, so maybe a little bit worse than these guys. But it was a challenging map. I kind of stayed on the island. I think the strategy perhaps is to, get to feudal, then take a lot of your eco off the island. Obviously you've got these small golds and stones here that can sustain you for a little bit, but obviously 4 golds is not going to do the trick. You're going to have to get off the map eventually, off the island, onto the mainland. What I noticed is a lot of cows on this bottom side, so I think it's actually worthwhile scouting this bottom part of the map early, getting those cows. And then perhaps with your scout kind of going over to their bridge, because obviously the cows are going to go back to home base. Yeah, I think that would, trying to steal some cows on the opposite side of the map could be a pretty good strategy. Not sure. We'll see how these guys go for it. So Japanese, of course, got to go for the lumber camp, and Armenians, massive advantage, I think. Going for the mule cart. I just think it's great because you can stay on this island a little bit longer perhaps without having to build more lumber camps. it does seem like you might want to leave the island quite a lot earlier if you just have to keep on rebuilding these lumber camps, where Armenians don't have to do that. Obviously, gold still an issue. Got some cows coming back. Got a boar lure here. I'll be interested to see when these docks go up as well. So, got quite a lot of guys on wood for Alcatraz, so he might be a little bit closer to, or quicker to water, sorry, than the Japanese here. 5 on wood, that would indicate to me he's going to go to water pretty quickly, and he does have the wood for it already, and I think that's what we're seeing. Yep, off to water. I did make the mistake, or actually, so Kerfoogle was also going to water around about the same time, so yeah, no difference there. I made the mistake when I played this map putting my dock on the front and not realizing there are no deep fish here. All the deep fish here seem to be at the back. So maybe I would have even preferred these docks to be back, and they've gone both with the side docks. Alcatraz has been housed. He's desperately getting those houses up, which is going to delay those fishing ships. So I think we might see an early eco lead for Kerfoogle here. No deaths on the board lure here. He still has 2 goats. He must not have scouted that yet. Oh, you hate to see it. Just in that fog of war. That's really unfortunate. I think he does have the eco lead, definitely, with the villages as well. You know, Alcatraz got a minute of idle TC time due to that housing that he had. But you can see that Kerfoogle has gone for some scouting down here, and he's got quite a lot of cows. So I'm really liking the position Kerfoogle is in. And apologies if I'm pronouncing any of these names wrong. I think AlcatrazTheSergal is an interesting one. I'd like to know the background to that name. And as we can see, actually, Alcatraz hasn't even scouted the mainland yet. He's gone more for the scouting of the base. I think that's a mistake. I think you need those cows, and unfortunately I think he might be running into the TC here. Yep. Can he do some dodging? He's just run, yep. Oh, he might even try to steal, oh, okay. He did steal 1 cow. He tried to kill a cow underneath the town centre. I love it. I love the aggression. I love the confidence. You got to be confident going into these tournaments, I reckon. If you have no confidence, you're going to lose. So, love the approach. Love the approach. I want to see some more scouting on the map, though, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I played in one of these tournaments, you know, probably a couple of tournaments ago now, and it was a lot of fun. You know, I think I was a lot more confident back in those days. I think I've lost a bit of confidence in my gameplay. And yeah, you just got to go into the, like, I picked a lot of Sicilians, a lot of Donjon rush kind of stuff, some, you know, some aggressive strategies. I think that's the way you got to play these tournaments, at least in this kind of mid-elo bracket, to take your opponent off guard. I don't think standard play really gets you that far unless you're like a, you know, a macro or micro god, which I am not. I'm neither of those things. Yeah, I just feel like you got to play this aggressively, especially in a map like this, right? And Kerfoogle, I think, do I love this or do I hate this? I mean, I love it in the sense that he's gone to the island, to the mainland. Like, should we call this the main? Should we call it the island and the mainland? I think that's what I'm going to call it. I like that he's gone to the mainland. You know, like I said, you kind of have to get over there after feudal age. I think it's the time that you need to get over there. You know, if you wait until late feudal, even into castle, you know, I just don't think that's going to be a viable strategy. So I love that he's over there. But we're seeing very different approaches. Very different approaches. We're seeing men-at-arms now from Armenians. Very interesting. And sorry, Arbase, I can see that you've got a lot of chat. I'm still figuring out even how to work up the chat, how to get onto my screen. I don't know. Yeah, says Arbase, you only got 6 sheep total, so you want to find all the cows. Yep. That document Alcatraz is not on a shorefish. Yep. The start is amazing for orange. Okay, so Arbase loves the start for orange. Yep, I love it too. You know, I think he's gone back in that early advantage though in the villager lead. It's 31 apiece now, but like I said, very different approaches being taken. We've even got long swordsmen coming in for Alcatraz, so he's going for a very aggressive strategy. And where are these guys, you know? How do I figure out where those long swordsmen are? And I've missed, actually, this early battle, naval battle. You know, I think just mid-elo players going for galleys early, I think it's a mistake. I mean, you know, if you're the Viper or Hare or something, they always seem to make galleys work. You know, get up enough numbers, and you seem to be fine. But I just really have not had success with the galley play. I think it's fire ships all the way, and so love Kerfoogle's approach there. Does he have 4 fire galleys? I think that's all that says. So I think Alcatraz has lost water. And here come these long swordsmen. Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know about this. Unless he just gets completely taken off guard. He has an archery range, so I think he has the and look, he's going into archers. This is exactly the right play. I think he's got everything he needs to handle this. You know, I don't think he needs these walls. I just really don't think he needs these walls. The palisade walls, if you get your archers up, you can defend from it. It's just long swordsmen. I mean, are we really that threatened by long swordsmen? I mean, this one should be going down immediately anyway, as he will. Although, dodging a lot of shots, in my opinion. And he's got 5 of them. He's got 5 long swordsmen. It is creating a lot of idle time, got to admit. A lot of idle time. And he hasn't taken out these, you know, been distracted. He hasn't taken out the fire ships yet, but of course they'll come back to dock. So those will be taken out. Taking out houses, annoying, I guess. Very annoying. Have to rebuild those. Gets up that blacksmith. But yeah, you know, he should be more aggressive with these archers. He can just prod, take them down, sort out your eco, which he has done. He's got at least he's got the numbers up. The idle time for Alcatraz is higher, so at least Kerfoogle has kept the villager production going. And he just needs to get in there with these archers. I mean, these guys are sitting ducks. Yeah. And if I was Alcatraz, I would have just kept going for these houses though. Get all the value you can from these long swordsmen. They've got a limited window to actually do damage. Keeping pressure on the map, keeping the villagers off here, which to be honest is not much. But you know, you could have get them off that gold perhaps a little bit more. Maybe follow this up with villagers. You know, maybe do a tower rush kind of play. I just don't know if the long swordsmen by themselves does anything, you know? I think Kerfoogle's got this, and you know, he's sitting here with these fire ships as well. I don't think that would stop villagers going over. I think you could still dash for it. Could be wrong. But yeah, I love that position. Stables in the middle. Interesting, it's kind of like a map control kind of play. And yeah, is he going for these walls again? I think he'd just delete these walls. If you look at their res collector though, that's a really interesting story. Alcatraz has actually gained more resources, collected more resources than Kerfoogle. Even though Kerfoogle throughout the entire game had more villages. It's because he's had all these idle villages. But look at all these villages on this building. Building that stable. You know, I think it's a bit of a panic. You've got the archers, you've got everything you need to deal with this. Although I do understand the stable now that I'm seeing the skirms, I get it. Okay, I do get it. But, you know, he should have been doing this the whole time, just luring these guys back, getting those, you know, hopefully, you know, actually quite the opposite is happening now. He's throwing away these archers. His attention is elsewhere. You know, that's big. That's big. Because now we don't have anything to contest this. I mean, I guess limited in what they could do now that Skirm's there. You get knights out, counter both units. Doesn't matter if you lose the archers. You know, he did get 1 point in fletching, so would have been good to keep him in, but this is key. Like, at the end of the day, Alcatraz is, you know, disrupting this economy, but he's got this economy down here. Alcatraz does not have, his economy is centralized. He's got a lot of farms. This wood situation, not great. I much prefer this wood situation. And I just think he's going to go into knights. Although we're seeing, sorry. We're going to armor on the long swordsman. I think the long swordsman has done all that they can do. And actually I should have mentioned, of course, Armenians can go for long swordsman and feudal. Didn't mention that, slipped the mind. But, you know, I guess that's the power spike he was going to. So is he going to go into, can he get two-handed swordsman now? Is that what the Armenians do? I think it is. So he might go into two-handed swordsman. Again, I don't know how that plays against knights. I would probably say still not great. But actually, I've completely missed water and what's been happening on water. Kerfoogle has just let water go and gone and did it with the galleys. So don't quite know how that happened. I felt like he had the control there, and I'm actually a little bit worried for Kerfoogle now. He is also going into crossbow, so he's going to go knight's crossbow. It's a double gold combo. We're seeing 15 on gold, and actually the resources for Kerfoogle, 1 on wood. Is that because they're building this town centre? Yeah, it must be. And building these houses. Must have got houses or something. So I can feel the pressure. I can feel the pressure for Kerfoogle. I've been there. 100% been there. And he's got to pop out the knights. I think he's popped out too early, if I'm being honest. He's got +1 armor and forging. Is that going to be enough? I mean, he's got the crossbows as well, so that double combo. And actually, I think what Alcatraz did there was quite good in the sense that, you know, those skirmishes were focusing down those archers. But I'm actually surprised that Kerfoogle came ahead there. And what we're seeing actually is score lead for Alcatraz. I'm surprised by that actually. I guess that's all the buildings destroyed though, so, you know, apparently if you destroy buildings like houses, like all the houses that were there, that does boost your score up quite a lot. so I think it might be a little bit of fool's gold. But Alcatraz does have 52 villages to 48, so he does have the villager lead. We're seeing Kerfoogle with that second town centre up much earlier. This one's not even started yet. So he is working with 2 TCs, so I expect him to catch up pretty quickly. Love the addition here of the mangonel. Get rid of this pressure. And again, I just think, is this island that important? I feel like this island isn't that important. You can just move your economy. You know, you got invested here a lot with the buildings. You got your production buildings. You do have gold here, but at the end of the day, I think it is at this bottom of the map. That's where you want the map control. I don't know if this castle. I mean, there's no resources here either. It protects against this choke point. I get it, but I would question that. Again, I'm no master of the game. To be honest, I'll be worse than these guys. My decision making in games probably terrible, but just from a outsider's perspective, not in the game, not facing the pressure, I would have considered a different castle, or maybe even if you're going to do a castle in the middle, maybe go aggressive. You know, put it here, get rid of that farming eco. Might have been the play. And we're seeing Alcatraz also having his distractions. You got to keep focus on a lot of different elements on this map. So I can totally understand why units may run under buildings like that. But that was a lot of pikemen, I think. And we're seeing mainly crossbow now. So the pikemen, was that response to knights, but it's the crossbow that the Japanese are going to go for. Are they known for crossbow? Are Japanese known for crossbow? I think they're a bit of an all-rounder kind of civ. Looks like they got pretty decent crossbows, so who knew Japanese crossbows? Me. I'm probably the only one that didn't know. But looks like a viable option for the Japanese. We've actually seen Kerfoogle take the lead now as well. He's still quite far behind on res collected, which I think, is not nothing. There's quite a, 1K. I guess it's not that much, but it's something. And this mangonel slowly coming over, and Iran. I think I might have used some of the villagers that took this castle to come over and build a siege workshop and put the pressure on that way instead of all this travel time. He is patrolling this area, so you can't get any more economy over here with this here. I might like to see another town centre. I think Alcatraz has transitioned nicely. I didn't think he was going to get the economy going on this side all that well, but we are seeing it. I think we need to see ballistics for these crossbowmen to be effective eventually. Alcatraz coming up to a castle of his own. So I think that he's done exactly what I said. I think if you wanted to pressure this island, getting that siege workshop up here is key. And yeah, if you're going to go for this island, you've got to go hard for it, I think, now. Especially because I think the macro economy gain by Alcatraz is looking quite good, although his idle TC time is quite high. He's obviously not paying that much attention here. He might get a few. I've been here. We've got your eyes on something else, and your knights are taking down your entire. That's okay. He's noticed. Okay, good. But obviously his attention is here. What is he going to do here? These archers are obviously going to also take up some kind of, we're seeing a lot of idle time for villagers. I think it might be getting to him, Alcatraz now. The pressure, the tables have turned. It's now Alcatraz's time to face the music, and I think Kerfoogle is doing a great job. More production buildings on this arm. That's what I want to see. I think Kerfoogle can sell this gold as well and plant that castle. Or maybe get up to Imperial Age might be more important now. He's already got a castle. And I just don't know about this castle. Like, I guess if Alcatraz gets to Imperial first, then he still doesn't have the unit. So, like, what unit does he transition to? And I don't know much about Armenians, if I'm being honest. Do you go to that special unit with the composite bowman? Does composite bowman cancel this army composition? With the mangonels, I would say no. I think the skirmish is a good place. Stick with the skirmisher for the archers, but what else do you combine with it with the Armenians? Do you go down that long swordsman route? I don't know. But I think you need either some cavalry or long swordsmen, I guess. That's what I'll be choosing from. I don't know what their siege is like. Combat with your own siege. And actually, Kerfoogle might be losing it a bit here. Attention elsewhere. But he is getting these raids in, and these are huge. Like, he's got a lot of... Well, he's got pikemen inside his town centre now as well, and he just hasn't seen this. That town centre production, all for naught really, because they're all dead. Imperial Age, okay. So Kerfoogle's gone to Imperial Age. I think that's a good sign for him, because then he can treble this down. He has or had the army control. Maybe it's a little more even now. We're actually seeing more army from Alcatraz. Some unsupported mangonel units here. Not ideal. Going for they were going to go for the repair. Didn't quite get it, and there's no units down here. We've got pikemen down here. Only got stables. So what happens there, He does have a couple of archers. Is that enough? Apologies, he does have some archery ranges down here. So that should do the trick. Still no ballistics though. Doesn't everybody get ballistics? That's a good question. For my own knowledge, I believe everybody gets ballistics. I would like to see that with that many archers on the field, and going into cavalry archers as well. We need the ballistics as a crucial technology. Okay, is this going to be a Doubt Castle, the famous Doubt Castle? I think he would get it up regardless. Although, sorry, those are composite bowmen, so that's what he did go into. He did go into the composite bowmen. And he didn't commit to it. I think he could have been quicker to the game there. Maybe he couldn't have prevented the castle going up, but he probably could have killed a lot more villagers. And we're seeing Alcatraz again with the villager catch up. I don't know how. He has a lot of idle TC time. He does have more TCs though. That's why. Are we seeing quite a lot of villager kills? Kerfoogle's got much more villager kills. I don't know how the villager count is so close or how that has happened, but Kerfoogle needs to respond here and move those villagers. That's a lot of gold villagers. And he does. Thank God. Thank God. I would hate to see that. No trebuchets. No trebuchets out yet. which is a curious move. I would have liked to see a trebuchet out here as well, but don't have it yet. We're going full cav archer on the Japanese side. You know, how does that fare against this army? Composite bowmen, I believe they ignore armor. I think that's what they're good at. That's their little special thing. You're gonna see more villager kills. Not responded to, so that's a big one against Kerfoogle there. And we're seeing a stall on this front. That front is not progressing. So I think we can just assume that that's not going to progress. And I think, if I'm being honest, I think Kerfoogle's lost a little bit of his advantage. I think he could have pressed more. I really do. I guess he's putting up those cav archer numbers, and that will benefit him in the long run. I guess. We'll see. I guess this is the composition you want to get to as Armenians. You want to utilize your long swordsmen, you want to get your composite bowmen. So that's probably a great move, a good composition to get to. And Alcatraz has a lot bigger army than Kerfoogle as well. So I'm a little bit concerned. I think Kerfoogle's played a great game, but perhaps he's not quite finishing it off yet. He may finish it off. And we're seeing the pressure on both sides because this army has completely fallen for nothing. He's just put them on stand ground or something, and they're just standing there. He saved one pikeman. Okay, so he did get one pikeman out of that. Saved one. But I think the macro game on Alcatraz is going well. We need to see this. You need to see the pressure. We need to see the pressure come out here. It's easy for me to say. I need to see the pressure because there's a lot going on in this game. It's been a great game. Actually, I forgot all about the monastery, the fortified church, sorry. Free relic, and he's just built it. So, could have seen that earlier. Alcatraz is housed. Need to move over to this town centre now. This is just wasted time. Get more trips out. Need more trips. Actually, looking at the resources, you know, we don't have that much on gold. He knows the gold is there. I guess he's going to the gold now. Is that right? He's got this gold here, and this gold has been an issue. That castle is actually clutch. Protects against some of that galley fire. And we're seeing some more pressure on the main island, the farming island. Farming on both sides. That trebuchet had to move here, but attention is here. The Yasima Tower. Look, wasn't expecting to see Yasima in this game. I thought this would be a quick game, perhaps. Evacuation, quick games, that's what I was expecting. But we've seen both players play really well. Play really, really well. You know, they've matched each other, you know, mistakes, but also good plays. So it's gone to the late game. Res collected. Kerfoogle's actually above Alcatraz now by quite a bit. The villager lead that Kerfoogle had for most of the game coming into play. But it is even now. Dead even. Dead even. So we don't have anybody with the advantage there. So Kerfoogle's gone into light cav as well. I guess that's for the skirmishes. Skirmishes against the light cav. It's not a bad combo, I suppose. He needs to go to this town centre. Is just how many villages he's got there? He's got 19 villages now, just waiting to be killed. He needs to get the eco advantage. He needs to hold, for me anyway, a mid-elo kind of player myself. Getting the eco advantage is everything. Because then you can snowball that. We're going Kataparatu. I think that's the trebuchet tech, so they can pack up and move very quickly. Maybe they fire quicker or something. It's a trebuchet tech. And now that we see 3 trebuchets on the ground for Kerfoogle, I like it. You gotta swoop in. Get those villages. Come on, yes. No, all those villages right for the picking. He should have placed them right there, so they had nowhere to go. But he saved. Honestly, those 20-ish so villages should be dead, and they even stopped to build a wall. Okay, it's not what I would have done, but I like the balls. And you know, it is possible that he let some of these cav archers in, but he doesn't. Okay, thank goodness. I was scared there for a bit for Alcatraz, but we do see the map control for Kerfoogle here. Now, to be honest, I've only just realised Alcatraz isn't even in Imperial Age. He's just got into Imperial Age. So he was at a disadvantage for all that time, which I feel as though Kerfoogle could have taken advantage of, but we have seen Kerfoogle take that map advantage now by getting rid of those 2 town centres, you know, taking them off that gold. That's about it though, really. We do have another gold down the bottom here. Got like a nice little corner, resources farm, woods. He does have the lot down here. 2 golds actually. No, 3. He does have 3 gold piles down here, so he does have what's required, and I haven't seen Kerfoogle expand onto that gold. But we're seeing a lot of techs coming here now as well. Cavalier, Ram, Blast Furnace, Siege Engineers. Now does that affect trebuchets? I'm assuming it would, because oh wow. Did we know that this hole was here? I certainly didn't. But I think that might be it with that hole. And you know, Cav Archer is a brutal unit once you get enough of them. I think it's going to be a free fall here for Alcatraz. We're not seeing any counter pressure on the mainland there for Alcatraz to kind of compensate, and you know, that's a lot of dead villages. That is a lot of dead villages. We've actually seen Kerfoogle kill 100 eco. That is a lot of eco. And you know, I love the tower play, you know. Leave no chance that he can push back across the map. If this fails, this ain't gonna fail. He's got it. He does have those composite bowmen, but that won't do. So let's have a look at this. That was a great game. Great game by both players. Military economy. I love the economy graph more than anything. And we see it's actually pretty even, but an advantage throughout the game for Kerfoogle there. And you know, that early Imperial time compared to Alcatraz, I think was key. Didn't even pick up on it when I was watching the game, if I'm being honest. And I feel as though Kerfoogle could have taken advantage of it more. He did get those Cav Archers out, but he didn't get those Trebs out. He could have put that pressure on a little bit earlier, but what do I know? he played a great game. Yeah, APM is always interesting. My APM is always pretty low, probably more on the Kerfoogle side there, you know, in the 30s. 40s, I'd be a bit optimistic to get there. Good to see that I'm perhaps not far off these guys. So, yeah, fantastic game. Let's get in to the next one. So, Acropolis. We'll load that one up. Before I do though, before I start, I'll just have a little look at chat, see if anybody is here. Again, apologies, keeping an eye on the game in the chat, not my forte, if I'm being honest. Yeah, walls too much. Okay. Good to see you, Spunked. R-Base, again, pleasure to have you along. We'll get into this next game. So Alcatraz lost, which means that this must be his home map, I believe. He's picked Magyar's. Alcatraz in the blue there. Put the 1 there for Kerfoogle, 1-0. Magyar's for Alcatraz. Obviously Cav Civ, Cav Archer Civ, always great on this map. Kerfoogle with the Hindustanis. So again, not a great player myself, but whenever I do play Acropolis, Hindustanis are a favourite of mine for this map. If there is any kind of Cav rush, you know, Cav can play great on this map, you do have an answer for that. You've got the camels, of course, and then you've got the Hindustani unique unit, quite fast. Probably can't keep up with the Cav Archer, if I'm being honest, but you know, good against that Archer fire. So, be interesting to see what the compositions will be there. I think obviously Alcatraz wants to get to Cav Archer. And then I think it's the counter unit, whatever that counter unit might be for Kerfoogle. You know, Kerfoogle could go for Cav Archer on their own. I remember that the Hindustanis do have good Cav Archers of their own, but if you're playing against the Magyars, you know, are you really just playing into their hands? Cav Archer versus Cav Archer, the Magyars are going to probably win that battle. You do have hand cannoneers for Hindustanis, probably won't come into play this game, could be wrong. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I think it'll be Cav Archer, obviously, Alcatraz, Magyars, and then whatever the counter unit might be for Kerfoogle. And I just feel I align probably gameplay wise a little more with Kerfoogle here, with his Civ picks and his playstyle. So, not that he's a favourite or anything in my eyes. I can just relate a little bit better, perhaps, to his game style. Of course, we've got the middle pond. How many fish do we have? We've only got 2 deep fish, which is 450 food. It's not much. It's not much. And then about 1,600 on the outside for shorefish, which, you know, you don't want your fishing boats necessarily taking them. But we're going to see Kerfoogle go for the pond. Which, you know, it's not much fish, but I think it's the play. You know, you can get that quicker feudal time by doing this, I think is the rationale, right? You get more kind of food eco on the 4 or on the map quicker. So even though it seems like not much gain, it's the quicker uptime. I am seeing a lot of dead cows for Alcatraz. A lot of hunters on different animals, including boars, deer, and cows, and we're even going to berries at the same time. So, you know, when we're talking about tournament settings, I've been there. The nerves build up. You forget to do something, you get put into a bit of a panic mode, and this has happened to me plenty when I played in the tournament, so totally relate to this. Also, this house location, how is he going to access that gold? I mean, you can put one here and get the 2 gold together. Probably fine, right? But yeah, you know, house placements, building placements, that all goes out the window whenever I'm playing in a tournament setting as well. So, yeah. We are seeing quite a quick timing for feudal by Alcatraz, and we should be on the way there for Kerfoogle now as well. It does have the 2 fishing boats, so is that the play? You just want 2 or 3? You've got 3 there now. You stop at 3, and that's all good. You don't want to overcommit to such a small pond, I suppose. This is good, I'm learning. I don't quite know how to play these maps myself, so I'll definitely be taking tips and notes. Okay, so I thought you could put maybe a mining camp there in between, you know, maybe build the wall out around. Be interesting to see what that mining camp placement is like and how inefficient it may be, but you know, that's probably just a minor thing, probably overthinking that. And what is Alcatraz going to do with this early feudal time? He's got barracks, so it's not like he's gone straight into barracks and then, you know, immediately built that stable for that scout pressure, perhaps invade that wood line, which, you know, Kerfoogle would be a little slower to get to, slower to protect from. So I feel as though that the timings here may be a little bit off. I don't get these timings right either, because if you're into an early feudal, do you have enough wood to actually pull this off? You know, I think he probably went into feudal with 20 villages, not like a, you know, 19 villager kind of feudal age with those pros. How they pull that off, I have no idea. But yeah, I just think that this pressure might come in a little bit late. But then again, what has Kerfoogle scouted? So he has scouted this stable being built. He hasn't seen it built, but I don't think that matters, right? As long as he knows that stable is being built, he can kind of prepare, and he has actually. So he's actually prepared those spearmen in advance. Love to see that, because nobody wants to see five scouts on their wood line with no forethought for spearmen. So good job, great spear defense there. This is everything that I would want to see myself do. He's even gone for these pre-walls here. That's one less area that those spearmen need to reach. Love it. Absolutely love it, that defense. And we've got Alcatraz just splitting these scouts up. Where can I get that damage? There's spearmen everywhere. You're not going to get any damage with one scout. He's just looking for where he can poke and prod. And I think he's found out pretty quickly that, you know, he might have been a bit late to those scouts. I would not produce any more scouts at this point, knowing that that defense is there. You know, with 5 scouts, of course, you can pick off those spearmen. You know, so there is that. Maybe he should be grouping up those spearmen a little bit more. You know, he should probably have 2 together at all time. That's why you can guarantee that you will take something down with you. A deleted help, you're gonna go for the mining camp. Alright. Got no mining camp there yet for Alcatraz. So he hasn't gone to gold at all. So he's gonna be in feudal for a little while yet, while Kerfoogle's already up to castle. That just tells me, and yeah, he has built more scouts. So he's really committing to this all-in feudal play. I don't love it. You know, I think that control could have been a bit better. The control in those units. And you know, you don't want to see your scouts running into fire there, into that town centre fire. He did pick up a couple of kills. That's something. You know, it's not nothing, but you know, he did lose a lot of scouts there. I like it's a little bit of a desperation play. And you know, as soon as he gets into Castle Age, he will be onto those camels, I think. But I must say, I do love that Alcatraz goes into that combo. You know, he goes into scouts, forces that spearman play, goes into the skirmisher. But you know, he is now backing away sensibly, I believe, as soon as he hits that Castle Age timing, because he knows that those camels are coming, and those camels can deal with both of those units. So Alcatraz going to the defense now. Does not know that their archery range is there. We don't have bit-axe on Alcatraz. That's concerning to me. You know, you want to see, bit-axe is such an important upgrade. You don't want to miss that. You know, unless you're going for that rush, right? Like you went for the scout rush, you don't want to invest the resources. I get it, but you know, the rush hasn't necessarily paid off at this point, and he still hasn't got bit-axe. I would be beelining that. I guess he's saving for, you know, Castle Age himself, but I just feel like that's an upgrade you can't miss. You know, he does have a lot of farms, and he does have horse collar. So maybe that's the one based on his eco that's more important. I don't know what this villager is up to be honest. It's just going for a journey. Just lots of journey. Okay, we've got the story of the two villagers. One on each side. One going for stone with the mining camp. So is that a good investment? If you just got a wayward villager, is it better just to like let him go, or invest 100 wood for one villager that might get picked off very quickly, or you just keep them around? They can do something productive. You got to keep those that idle villager time down so your stats are better. I guess. You know, you want your stats to look good. You can't have idle villager time. That's what he's doing. Anyway, as expected, Hindustani's going into camels. So if the Magyars get to that Cav Archer mass, then I will be concerned for camels, because obviously camels aren't great against archer fire. So I feel like he needs to kind of go across the map now, although that's a lot of spears. That's 9 spears. Yikes. So that could be a problem. And you know, that's the kind of stuff you need to scout out a little bit. Well, you don't need to scout if you just run into the fishing ships. Yeah, so maybe a wide arc there would have made this a little more of a surprise. You know, you might have been able to get some real damage on the back side of the base there. if you just kind of loop it around. I'm interested to see what the response is for Kerfoogle. I feel like he might be trying to get to that castle, and if you get to that castle, you can go to the special unit. It's pretty good against all the units that Alcatraz has, in my opinion. Could be wrong there. Seeing a lot of eco upgrades coming in now as well for Alcatraz, which I love to see. Doing a bit of catch up there. But we do see more res collected from Alcatraz, which was similar to last game, I think. Maybe a little more. I don't know why that is, because I think we've seen, could just be misremembering the game. But I think we saw Alcatraz have less villagers during the game. Again, could be wrong. But yeah, this is what I was expecting, a castle to come up here, which is going to completely nullify the siege workshop. You know, that siege workshop might have needed to come in a little bit closer, or faster, sorry. Bit of housing issue, bit of wood issue, you know. I think he should come down here. Well, he does have the town centre down here now, but maybe he shouldn't be. I hate the wood lines on the top of this hill. I just hate them. I try to get away from them as soon as possible. Probably a mistake. But, you know, talking about the wayward villager. Wayward villager over here building outposts, houses, stables, and we've still got this guy going strong on the stone. So what is the play? Can't get to this town centre now at the Alcatraz, which I was hoping to do there with that mangonel. That's now being taken off the cards. These fishing ships, doesn't matter. Like, honestly, it's better that they're dead now, because they're useless. Super inefficient. Haven't reached PopCap yet, of course, but far from it. But you just don't need them. We've done well up until now. This is super exposed. Like, this is risky. If you get, well, now he's coming off it. Okay, yep. He must have heard me say something. The lumber camp probably should be a little bit closer to home base. Oh, here we go. Got some camels around the back. Like to see this raiding, but we don't have forging. We know that camels have pretty low attack. We've got double armor on them, but we don't have forging, so pretty hard to get those villager pickoffs. You know, probably a couple extra hits required. And you know, if you're not paying attention, those camels are going to go down pretty quick to that TC fire. A lot of disrupted economy though, like that's still value, but you want to hang on to those camels, I would say. That's a lot of idle TC time though. Yeah, a lot of idle TC time. Okay, running into the TC fire again, not great. So, true on both sides there. This is just so funny. This archery range, sitting up here next to the town centre, just chilling. Not much of a threat, I guess. Don't need to take care of it. And we could be in for another long one, another long game. Now, I must have missed a pretty crucial fight. I'm a little bit all over the map, but I think we've lost quite a few camels from Kerfoogle, because he only has 6 now. Where they went, I don't know. Oh no, the wayward villager. But this is value. He's taken 3 villages with him. And he'll probably forget about these villages. They'll probably be stuck in this corner somewhere for the rest of the game. Just idle. You know, just running around the map like this. Just, don't know. Maybe send 1 camel back there. Take care of it. Cleaning up some houses. We haven't seen the Cav Archer switch for the Magyars, and that's what they want to get to. And this is crazy. We are seeing War Galley by Kerfoogle. Very interesting. Okay. I would have never thought about it, but you can put pressure. This is the key area of the map. I get it. So you can put that additional pressure with the ships, but it's such a small pond. Like, the utility is not there, in my opinion. Oh, those villages nearly got kaplunked. And here come the pikemen. Good attack grounds. Good attack grounds. He's just going to go for the cleanup. No, lure them in. He's going for the lure. A pretty good lure. I would never be able to do that. That's something I'd never be able to do. Mangonel control. You know, I've seen mangonels from both players. My mangonel play ain't great. So all the respect to these guys. I just think it's a recipe for disaster. I just kill my own units. It's interesting. Alcatraz has a game style, I think, which is interesting. He goes for this early aggression play. He has done on both maps. Not necessarily focused on economy during that time, although he does like to build a lot of farms early. And then in this late castle age kind of era, that's when that's when the economy kind of accelerates for him. So I feel as though if you're Kerfoogle, which again is probably the player I'm more like, if you absorb that first hit, that first aggressive hit from Alcatraz, you've got to perhaps push back a little bit faster. It's just where my mind is going. Because I feel as though that this perhaps shouldn't be allowed to happen. If you're coming through the middle a bit stronger after those first initial hits, then you can kind of get, you can kind of take it, I think. But we're seeing the Imperial Age come out, and that's what he kind of opts for. He opted for that in the last game, where he's quite happy to sit back, contest some areas, throw a few camels out, throw a few mangonels out, pressure this town centre a little bit, not go crazy, don't go all out, just play for that Imperial time, and then get those trebuchets out, hope your army composition can match his. And a thing about this kind of late economy play by Alcatraz, I guess it does kind of delay a little bit that Imperial time. Maybe you could get to Imperial a bit quicker if he just does 1 TC, for instance. I don't know. But I just feel like this Imperial time, if it's utilized well, is going to be big. And Alcatraz has the resources for Imperial. And here he goes. But, could have got there a bit earlier. It's the timings that would mean everything, How many trebuchets can Kerfoogle get out before Alcatraz gets his out? And we're seeing Wing to Sa. Look, I'm not a Magyars player. by any kind of imagination. It's not my favourite civ, I don't play them much. But from what I know, you want to get to that cav archer, so go for the skirmishes, then you kind of get played, do your light cav, do your knights, to contest that. That's what I would be thinking, but again, I'm not a great player. We're seeing Kerfoogle get housed a little bit. Chemistry from Kerfoogle. And Shitagi. How do you say this? Shitagni. I'm going to go with that. So he is going to go, which I said at the start of the game. We probably won't see hand cannoneers. And yet here we are. We're going to see hand cannoneers. Which is a little unexpected. Get conscription at the same time, you can get those hand cannoneers out quickly. Yes, swarm those mangonels, get them off the floor. Go for some raids on the side. I don't quite know where he's going though. We never got those walls up. And I think that's actually quite important to get those side walls up so you can focus your energy down the middle. If you're Hindustanis, your mobility compared to the Magyars, not as good. So you want to kind of focus your efforts forward in one direction. I'll be focusing on getting those walls up, blocking that off as well. I guess he's going for making sure that he's got economy elsewhere. That also works. Protective castle, those units come in, you got the protection there. Good second option. I think that's fine. And we're seeing those hand cannoneers now. Don't want to run into that town centre, although there's nothing in there. And we're going bombard cannon. Love it. Underrated bonus of the Magyars though, of their special unit, is that they have that advantage against siege units. And actually, this hand cannoneer option is quite smart really, because you go into camels, you force that pikeman choice, and then you go into hand cannons. So great job by Kerfoogle there. While you're pushing down the middle, you got the raids on the sides, forcing attention elsewhere. So I think Kerfoogle's done a great job going even for the Imperial Camel Rider. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's needed. And this cav archer switch, which I'm assuming has just happened now, it's far too late. It's far, far too late. You're just not going to get the numbers up. Like, you need to get those numbers up, and the ranges are right here, and if the ranges go down, then you're going to have to build more, it's going to delay it. I'm really liking the position with the siege, with the double unit composition, that counter this unit composition in my opinion, but we are seeing quite a secure economy down here. And does Kerfoogle know this exists? He does. He does know it exists. Yeah, interesting. I feel as though Alcatraz is hemmed in. And if you're Magyars, you want to utilize your mobility, run the map, and he's not able to do that yet. Again, if you had more cav archers, you could be harassing some of this outside economy. and forcing reactions, but he's stuck in the middle, doesn't have the numbers. And what do? Do you go for this economy over here? He's going for the corner base, the impenetrable corner. He can shoot right over those walls. Yeah. He's actually going to shoot the walls so he can get through. And this is going to be a lot of dead villages, I can only assume. Because they can't fit all in those town centres. There are only 2 town centres there. And now those town centres, they're gone. That is a lot of dead villages. You know, with this army coming across now, we will see some army deaths, but you know, I think the response here is great, and if he focuses on those bombard cannons, which he's trying to do, you know, your army's going to die. And that town centre is going to go down immediately. He just has the unit combination, I think, to win this game. Like the hand cannoneer with the shitangi, or however you might pronounce that. Again, do not expect that combination to come up, but here we are. You know, we're not seeing the full utilization of the army though, which will work in favour. But, you know, he does have the skirmishes as well against the cav archer. You know, that's not a great trade. Even if you do get a bit of kills, we're talking skirmishes here. They cost nothing. Food and wood. Trash unit against a gold unit. And, you know, if we're looking at the economy difference as well, you know, I think Alcatraz is basically spent. He's basically spent all his resources. This is his kind of last-ish army push, in my opinion. He needs to bring these over though. But at the same time, the economy's only going to get worse, even if, you know, if you're fighting under a castle as well. You know, it's just, even if you do win the fight, it's a little bit unnecessary. The losses are just too much. And he didn't win the fight, so I just don't know if that was worth it, considering what you're giving up as well is basically your economy during that fight. You know, but tough position to be in, like making these choices real time. You know, I would have made a terrible choice myself. But yeah, I just don't think that was the choice. And you know, I think he's just closed in that map. He's got a castle on that side of the hill, castle on that side of the hill. It's actually in range of that castle. Even with this, you know, and you hate to see this slow moving, there must be some kind of like pikeman in there or something. You know, if he gets over there a little bit, yeah, there's a pikeman. He might have been able to get over there a bit quicker. You know, that's so frustrating. I've been there. But his map has just compressed smaller and smaller and smaller. With the Hussar as well for raiding. You know, if you don't have any halberdier there, you got the camels. You know, the camels actually didn't do that much. They were just kind of there as that threat, which I thought was quite impressive, that unit control. But yeah, great game from Kerfoogle. I thought he played that really well. But I'm loving the strats from Alcatraz as well. You know, we're seeing two very different game styles. Again, Alcatraz with that early pressure. It didn't work out this time. I think it worked out much better in the previous game, but I still think there are minor tweaks that he can make to this early pressure that can be a little more effective. But yeah, we're seeing that economy difference really come into play when that side base started to be attacked and that map started to get smaller. I think that was pretty key. APMs, this is my range, the mid-30s. So, you know, there's still hope for me. I can get to mid-30s, I can do that. I mean, I am in mid-30s, so, you know, makes me feel a little bit better. Kills and losses, Kerfoogle quite, you know, got the KD ratio. I just think he had that unit combo, at least in the end, you know, with the cannons and the camels and a little bit of skirmisher in there for the cav archers. So, you know, I think the unit compositions are coming in key here for Kerfoogle. So, you know, 2-0 up. Big props to Kerfoogle. So, as far as I'm aware, best of 3, right? So you play all 3, and that's how the grouping works. So Alcatraz can kind of come back here and get, you know, that consolation win. That will count because, you know, let's say Kerfoogle's top of the group, he smashes everybody. I don't know what the groups look like, but let's say that he's top seed, 3-0's everybody. If you get that one win, that's a big win to have. So still a really important game. And it is, unfortunately, on Kerfoogle's map, I believe. We'll see. Still figuring out the structure of the tournament myself. These are things that I need to kind of brush up on a little bit. But this is a lot of fun, guys. If I can't play the tournament, or, you know, full disclosure, I've got a 1-year-old daughter at home. I cannot commit the time, you know, to wake up at 4 a.m. and play a best of 3. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to. Just gonna have a quick look at the chat here. We've got somebody called Obedient Colonization. Love the name. Love the name. Although it looks like a bot. It is a bot. Yeah, haven't done anything with the faster castle time. I agree, Arbase. It does seem be a little more in action towards the middle of that game. He wants to get to that Imperial time, you know. I think maybe you could exploit that. If anybody's playing Kerfoogle coming up, could be exploited. That castle time. All right, let's get into the next one. Okay, so we have Bohemians for Kerfoogle. I need to brush up on my Bohemians, but I do believe they are a monk civ. They have some monk techs. I think well, I know monk techs affect villages. Is this checkable? Okay, so we have Alcatraz thinking, what is this map? It's obviously not his pick. What do I do? So, I've only seen this map myself a couple of times. Looks interesting. You have these shrines in the middle of the map. They got a little relic on them. So it is arena-esque, where you have the relics in the middle. The difference being, And again, I don't know this map much. You can create a monk-ish, like a cheaper, shittier kind of monk. Or can I even say that? I don't even know. What are the rules? A worse monk from this in Feudal Age. So you can get this monk out, collect these relics, and bring them back in Feudal Age. Well, I don't think you can put them in here, but you can drop them in your base. So that when it does come to Castle Age, you can pick them up, put them in the monastery, so you kind of get that head start. And you've got the kind of central gold here as well. So it is an adaptation of an arena style map with slight differences. How much gold is there? You've got 1 gold in your base at the back. It does seem as though that might be scripted, that you have a safe gold. That's the way it looks to me. So one interesting part of arena is sometimes your gold can be on the front. You kind of get these unfair gold generations. If it's scripted to be at the back, it does give you a bit of more chance to be a bit more insular, I would say. And we're seeing a bit of a trend here from the old Alcatraz. Well, this is a deer, but I am seeing multiple sheep. You know, this sheep isn't even being gathered from, and it's got about 70 food on it. So, you know, a bit of cleaning up here, but this is one thing that I don't do. Well, don't do as much as I should, is lure the deer. And that's because I'm not an arena player. I'm terrible at arena. And, you know, this is a very necessary skill for arena. You can kind of get away with it a bit more on open maps, not going for the deer, although I do try. But when you're going for deer and you've got sheep at the same time, that stuff is just going to happen, right? Like at the mid-elo tier. And you're going to manage your population as well. So we're seeing low-ish, although not perfect ILTC times during this time. And you know, we are seeing the double, you know, it's a shared experience. Seeing the double sheep kill for Kerfoogle as well. But we're also seeing the deer play. So, you know, this is impressive stuff, in my humble opinion. A much worse player. So good on these guys, you know. Tudens. I haven't talked about the Tudens at all. So, what would be the advantage of playing Tudens on this map? They have that farming eco, that's good. So they have that economy play to be a bit more insular, I guess. It's just where my mind's going, although he did just get housed. Hate to see it, hate to see it. Are we broken through yet? We're not broken through yet. There's still a little bit of wood on that tree. A bit of wood on that tree. So we might not see the monks out at a perfect time. But I hope we get to see some monk play for the middle. But yeah, Tudens. I don't know. Again, not a Civ I play. I play Bohemians. So again, I'm on the Kerfoogle kind of side here. You know, he plays the Civs I play, plays the style I play. So I identify with him just that little bit more. But yeah, Tudens. I don't know. Don't play them that much. Do not play them that much at all. Infantry play, believe you get Paladin, you do. A tower play, the towers are good, if I'm remembering correctly. Don't think we'll see towers on this map. I think we'll see bombard cannons again, and hand cannoneers again. So, you know, might be a bit of a similar theme to the previous game here for Kerfoogle, and it worked out great for him. No camels, of course, but you know, you got halberdiers. You know, if the Teutons go for that knight play, you got your monks, you got your halberdiers, you got your hand cannons. I think, personally, I like it a bit more for Kerfoogle here. But speaking of play styles, Alcatraz going for farms a little bit earlier than Kerfoogle. You know, even before he reaches feudal age. So I love to get horse collar. If I'm able, if I can get horse collar before I plant those farms, I'm feeling really good. So he planted those farms before any horse collar, even before feudal age. Alcatraz just loves the farms. He's still got a lot of berries. 5 on berries. Still got a lot of berries on those berries. We're seeing even less on berries for Alcatraz, which is interesting. Like, do you need this many farms when you have berries? I know berry collection rate is quite low, but yeah, I just don't know if you need to invest as much in farms this early. And we're seeing housing, you know, housing issues on both sides. That makes me feel good because I get housed all the time. These guys 1200 and above also get housed. Makes me feel good. I did miss a monk kill. And are we going to see, how does he know? How does he know that this monk is, oh, so close. So very close. Could have got, so he went from side to side, got this one, went straight to the other side, realizes there's no relic there, and he's home. Home safe. Drop it in the gate. And now we're seeing a chase is on. We've got some monks coming out for Alcatraz as well. One not doing anything, but this one is coming out. And we've got one coming out here. So it's going to be a little bit of a race to this one, I believe. But that is clutch. That was bloody clutch by Kerfoogle. Again, don't know the swearing rules. Don't know if that's a swear word. I need to read the terms of reference. Again, second stream. Be kind. Don't ban me. But we got 3. Yeah, and sorry, that one was dropped right there, so that was a quick pickup. But we do have 3 there for Kerfoogle. But I think he's going to get away clean there with that middle one. And we do have a new scout. So refresh that scout. We're going to get some consolation prize relics from Alcatraz. I think he's going to get this one as well. Oh no, apologies. He's got him there before, and he's winning the scout battle. Awesome. So that's 4-1. Although there are 2 scouts coming up, we do have a spearman. And even if he does get picked off, which he won't, it would have been close to base. He's even microing him to the back. He's not risking that castle drop on your face and then not even being able to access the relics that you've collected kind of situation. So, good job. Great job. And we've got a lot of investment in the monks here as well with the 1 relic. You know, Alcatraz was playing at a disadvantage as well. He obviously hadn't seen the map. or, you know, who knows, it could be gamesmanship there of pretending you don't know, but he seems to have adapted well. He's just a bit slow to the relics, which would indicate to me that, you know, maybe he'd only played in the map a couple of times. But again, he got bit X very late, so he doesn't prioritize bit X. He's going for the SimCity type base setup with the houses in a row, but, you know, very space efficient. So no flame, no flame. This is interesting, walling this off because he wants to put a town centre on the side. That's actually something I haven't thought about all that much, is where do you expand in this map? Because there's a lot of central resources. Here and here, I'm assuming you can't place town centres down here, which would be downhill anyway, it might be a bad idea, regardless. So you'd have to place it by this, you'd probably have to place all your TCs along this wood line. But again, this is what this makes this a great matchup, because I feel as though these players are very different in game style. Alcatraz is like, the gold's in the middle. Why wouldn't I put my TC in the middle? That's where the resources are. Let's go there. See if it works out for him. But, you know, I would say it's a little bit exposed, but he has mitigated that to some extent by having the army. He's got a better army, numbers right now. And I feel as though Kerfoogle's just going for that economy play in Castle Age, which again is, you know, that was the criticism from our base, you know, that Castle Age could be exposed a little bit by Kerfoogle. You know, he's going for hand cart. Quite a chunky investment, I think, to go into hand cart. Is it a crucial technology? Can you get away with it in an arena style map? Probably. But, you know, it's just something to think about. If your opponent is pressuring you at this stage, I think Alcatraz could pressure a bit more. You know, force him off this economy play a little bit. Drop a panic castle. He does have the siege workshop, so, you know, that's where his mind is. His mind is, oh, okay, Kerfoogle's gonna trap himself in his base. I need to pressure. And he's making all of those steps. But maybe it just needs to come that little bit sooner. Again, you know, I hate to criticize these players, and this does not come from a place of criticism. It's just coming from what I'm seeing playing the game, because I am by no means a good player of the game. But that's just what it comes across to me on the outside looking in, is, you know, maybe that just needs to come a bit quicker. You know, and it's interesting for me, as a lower tier player, the choice of mangonels, because, again, I don't really use mangonels all that much, which is a flaw in my game. I would go for a ram, right? I'd probably go for a ram, knock this gate down, let the knights come in. And I may be wrong, but I think a ram attacks build, or, you know, does more damage to building, does damage to the building quicker. Maybe he's already in at this point. You know, you can run past that castle, get into the base. You know, it's just my thoughts, where, you know, these players, you know, both sides have kind of played the mangonel game, as we see a, you know, side base there for Alcatraz as well. Oh, and that mangonel's gone down. And, you know, that's another advantage of the ram. It's obviously they don't take as much fire from the arrows. You know, they're susceptible to melee, even from villages. But they're very good against archer fire like a castle. You can just take them around, attack that other side of the wall, and get in that way. But you see it all the time. The mangonel play is the play of higher tier players. So it's just something I need to learn and figure out for myself. The use of mangonel is a bit better. We're going for fortified wall. So he's really trying to turtle here. He really just is this another fast Imperial Age type strategy? You got the fortified wall, you can't get in here. I've got my castle to protect the gate. You're not getting through these walls. I've got the economy, got 3 town centres, even on villages, but I haven't been spending as much on army. I'm going to get to Imperial first. What are you going to do about it? As I say that, Alcatraz has gone to Imperial first. As we're seeing some market play on Kerfoogle's side to get there. So they're going to end up there relatively about the same time. But the res collected. Kerfoogle went into those economy techs a lot earlier. With Bidax. He's got the double upgrades. Alcatraz has the single upgrades. Again, bowsaw, such an important technology, which I would like to see. What are we seeing? Wagenberg tactics. Just trying to remember what that. I think is Wagenberg tactics where monks cost food. Is that the one? In which case, that's a really hard tech to use. If that is the case, I could be getting that wrong. But he does have the food economy for it. He's got 39 on food, which is crazy. And it's against an army composition that it's perfect against. So, shout outs to you if you can make that work. Kerfoogle, that's great. Would love to see some conversions. Although you would think if that was, you'd see some monk production. Just gotta check the chat. Might have no. If somebody can tell me what Wagenberg Tactics does, much appreciated. I'll check in a bit later, but we're going for a lot of barracks right now. A lot of barracks. So I think it is that treadmill crane, the technology I seldom see, but I think we're going for that halberdier and archery ranges. He went for bodkin arrow, so we're thinking crossbow. We're not thinking hand cannoneer. We're thinking crossbow. Yes, the halberdier is coming in, which makes sense. We're seeing the wall off on this area. Maybe get this gold. But yeah, my thoughts are actually the gold control, which I haven't been paying much attention to. Gold could be an issue. It's gonna run out, and this is hilarious actually. He's still on berries, just finished berries. Where we've got all of this gold production in the middle. All this gold production. We're seeing very limited gold for Kerfoogle. That could be his undoing. How is he going to sustain this army? We've got 2,000 gold there, 4,000 gold there. Maybe that's enough. Maybe there's just enough gold on the map to turtle. Maybe you don't need this map pressure. Although I just don't believe it. I think you need the map pressure. you can't just sit in your base, like, and unpunished as well. We're seeing double bombard cannon. And we see that one take a hit actually. And the villager is going to repair. I think you need some more siege workshops to compete, because remember, the Bohemians get Hufnitzer, and that's lethal. You can't get into a bombard war when you've got Hufnitzer against you. And we're going for the double. This is so different. This boggles my mind actually. How defensive Kerfoogle is, and he's gotten away with it. 100% he's gotten away with it. You know, and this would frustrate me to no end. I just don't believe you can win this way. Like, the longer this goes, the longer Kerfoogle doesn't push out, the less chance I give him. But he has the army numbers now. And, you know, against Cavalier, he may just have the army composition to do it. And that's what we've seen all along from Kerfoogle, is that his army composition has been amazing. Like, we are seeing the potential the conversion of the bombard cannons. Very interesting indeed. I did see that tech research and I was like, what was happening there? Are we expecting that to happen? We've seen it. At the 1200 level, we're seeing Kerfoogle reach 200 pop, and we're at like about 140 with Alcatraz. And you know, if we actually look at the score, which I probably should have done a bit earlier, yeah, there's quite a difference. And yeah, it's the army composition. I'm just surprised that he didn't need any of that middle gold. He just had those side golds and that base gold, and that was enough. And if you're just on Alcatraz's side, you need to find a way to make that not happen. Because even if you take him off one of those golds, does this happen? Maybe not. You just need like a little bit. And oh my god, did that blast damage destroy his castle? That's hilarious. Not that it matters, but what a way to end the game. We've got men at arms coming in. Okay, so you know, that's how you know it's desperate, when you're transitioning into you know, the swordsman line at this stage, and somehow they get in the gate. Yeah, this game's over. But yeah, I sympathise for Alcatraz here, because I think he played quite well. He had great strategies. You know, he executed them. You know, I think he could have executed them a little bit better with the early aggression type play. Just a few extra things that he brings some villagers in with the early aggression to build some towers. You know, does he combo that early aggression a little bit better, and take, you know, make sure you take advantage of that early aggression. You know, especially on that Acropolis game, he got 2 villages, but he produced about 7 scouts. So was that worth it? Don't know, but I do appreciate the fight. The strategies weren't bad. I just think Kerfoogle was just that little bit better, and maybe that is that elo difference. You know, it's a bit over 100, well, around about 100 elo difference. So there is a slight skill discrepancy there, but I think Alcatraz has held his ground nicely. But when you're letting them into the village, we do have hand cannoneers there ready, but that's usually not great. Yeah, and I think Alcatraz is just fighting to the death, you know. Can't believe it. Can't believe 3-0. But I appreciate it. Like, I usually fight on that a little bit longer as well. See what you can get. Is there potential for a comeback in this situation? I think not, but you know, you got to test what your boundaries are. You got to practice under pressure. This is like the pressure cooker. Can you make something happen in these kind of moments? And even if you can't, can you put up a good fight? Feel a little bit better with the loss. You know, this is the kind of stuff I do as well. So I respect it. You know, I hate nothing more than an early GG. When you go into a game, you play the game, you get an early advantage, and they call GG, and you look at the map and you're like, we're pretty even right now, and you call GG. I like the win. I like, especially in a ranked game, you get a bit of elo, but at the same time, you're like, it was an even game. We could have played on, could have had, you know, good time. So I like to see people play on a little bit longer, even if it is a little bit of a foregone conclusion. And wow, he's even going into the Cavalier now, so, you know, you might sit on your laurels and be like, I've already won this game, just push on with the army you got, get a bit lazy. Not for Kerfoogle. He has got the production buildings, he's got the transitions, he's got 125 villages, you know, he's well in control of this game, but he's not keeping his foot on the pedal. But we're seeing the Hoofnitsa in action as well. But it's hand cannoneer on hand cannoneer action. Do we see this battle very often? Do we usually get to the stage of the game where both players have hand cannoneers and are forced into that option, both teams? Not often. I don't think I've seen it before. But, you know. Goodness, what was happening there? If that was being built by Kerfoogle with one villager, that is very disrespectful, I might say. But yeah, we knew that was going to be Kerfoogle for some time, but again, just surprised. Just surprised that that turtle strategy worked. I thought there would be a little more contest for the middle. I might have played it actually, you know, I've been identifying with Kerfoogle a little bit more, but I might have played it a little more towards Alcatraz that time. But it didn't matter. The turtling worked. So, fair play. 3-0, Kerfoogle versus Alcatraz. Both players played great. Like, shout out to these guys. Pleasure casting your games. Hopefully the VOD is recorded again. Early streamer, I think I sorted it out. I did a few test runs, so it should be automatically uploaded. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the cast. We can have a little look at the stats here at the end as well. Military, you know, we saw he didn't invest, Kerfoogle didn't invest in military all at the start. Then that big spike, massive push out, and then it was all over. But got those early economy upgrades where Alcatraz, you know, went for that middle play, didn't focus on that economy upgrade as much. The relic gold heavily in favour of Kerfoogle there with 4 relics. So, you know, I said that he didn't play for the middle. He did play for the middle at the appropriate time. He did get the relics, then gave up the middle. That's very interesting. Get the relics, give up the middle. You think, you know, one and one would go in hand. You'd get the relics, you'd keep the middle, and kind of use that from there with the relic gold advantage, rather than pulling back. I need to look at this map and how people play this map a little bit more, because still understanding how they're playing it. APMs, we've dropped into the low 30s, so the players are getting tired. I guess it's an arena map, there's a little less clicking. But yes, this is the comfort zone. Yeah, well, I'll probably end the stream there, but again, fair shout to both players. And I will say that I'm around for practices. Again, it might be a little bit below players of this caliber, but 1,100 I'll be looking in the Discord, the T90 Community Cup, is it? Community Cup Discord? Community Games Discord? TTL. I'll be looking for practice partners. I'm not participating in the tournament, but I can practice some games now and then. Looking for more sets to stream. I'll be doing a bit of that. So I'll be around. Hope to see you, and I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thanks very much for joining. Catch you later.